Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, I want to share with you a project I've been working on for a while. This is for SharePoint Online administrators and security teams who want to audit and learn more about who has access to what in their SharePoint environment. So for example, you might be interested in learning for a specific user what items do they have access to in your SharePoint environment, or for a specific URL, who has access to it and what permissions they have, how did they get these permissions assigned to them. And so in this video, I'll take you through a tour of the dashboard that I've created, what components are required to build this, how do you get it from GitHub, and how do you build it into your own environment. So let's start with the Power BI dashboard. When you open it, you can quickly see an overview of what it has done. So you can see here that I have 39 site collections in my demo environment, a very small amount, to be honest. And how many of these has been scanned? This is your health. So if you see numbers here that you have more site collections than the ones you have scanned, you might want to check what's going on here. You can also learn quickly that there are 35 URLs in your environment that has direct permissions. This means that the permissions are assigned directly to a user, not through a group or a SharePoint group. And of course, these are the number of users who have directly assigned permissions to a file, a site collection, or an entire site in your SharePoint environment. From here, you can select a specific site collection in your environment, be it your root site collection or anything else. Once you select it, you can see it is updating all the metrics to show you information about this specific site collection. This will also affect all the other pages that we have here. So I'll just clear my selection. And then the first thing you can do to dig deeper into the permissions is maybe you are interested in permissions for a URL. So from here, you can go and select your object type. Maybe you want to know who has access to some files. So you can select files here, and directly it would show you for this for all the files who has access to them. You can see a file might be listed more than one time if more than one user has access to it, or if the user is getting this access directly. So this is a direct permission through a security group, through a SharePoint group, and maybe they have different permissions. All right. Over here, you can see quickly that there are 11 files or 11 URLs in the selected filter. These are number of users with direct permissions and how many group memberships do we have. Once we have this information, we can also see which URLs do we have, or you can just search for a URL by typing a part of it. So if I wanted to get anything related to Mark 8 project, so I can hit this, hit enter, and it will filter it by anything under the Mark 8 project. Okay, now what if we wanted to see who has access, who has full control permission on files, or who has only read permissions on files? We can also filter by this information. Now, we might want to learn more about a specific user. So you can go here, check the assignment type. How is this user getting this permission? So it can be through a security group. That's a security group that shows up in your Azure AD, or a SharePoint group, or a directly assigned permission. Again, in this example, I'm interested in the ones that is assigned directly to a user. So I can click here, and then I can see all the users in my environment and what permissions they have. We can see there is a lot of permissions here. All right, so but only 11 files and 35 URLs. If you're interested in a list of users, you can just click their names from here, and then you can see how they are getting these permissions. You can see also that all of these are directly assigned. So maybe we switch this into if they are getting this permission through a security group. So we can quickly see that this security group is giving them site owner on these URLs. We can also see that these security groups are assigned directly, meaning that they are not assigned through a SharePoint group. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see that some security groups are members of a SharePoint group, which is how they are getting the permission. So you can very easily pinpoint how this user is getting this specific permission, and maybe later on you might change this. If you are interested in a security group and learning what permissions, you can go here and search for any security group, maybe the operations one, for example, and you can see that the operations one is giving the site collection full permissions. If you click here, or once you select it, you can see here under users who are the users who are currently a member of this one. of this group and what permissions are they getting. You can learn that, for example, for the operations side, this group is assigning them a site owner on the entire collection, and also because this group is a member of the SharePoint group operations members and operations owner, they have the full and edit permissions. Now this is all good. You can also drill down. So for example, you found that, oh, okay, this is operations. I want to learn more about this URL. If you click here, you'd go into this drill down page that shows you that for this site, operations, who has permissions to it. Quickly, we can see that everyone except external users have edit permissions on the entire site. The system account as well has full control, which is expected. And you can also see all the users who have access to it and what permissions do they have. You can then filter it by security group or by SharePoint group in order to further understand what's happening, or maybe you're only interested on who has edit permissions, so you can show it from here. You can also filter it by site or site collection. All right, so now you notice that, hey, Alex W2, this guy is showing up too many times. Let's right click on him and drill through it into the user permissions drill. And now we can see what files in my entire SharePoint environment does this guy have access to. So we can quickly also see if he's getting direct permissions. We can see if he's getting it through security group or a SharePoint group. Here, when you select the SharePoint group, it shows you only those where this user is an explicit member of this group. If you select the security group, it can show you whether this security group is a member of a SharePoint group or it's just directly assigned. So very quickly, we can see what they have access to. So this was a very quick tour of this dashboard. When you get this from GitHub, as we will see later, you will learn how to, you will get the template for this, and I'll show you in a bit how to populate it for the first time. And of course, you can always publish this to your Power BI and share it with other people so they start working on it as well. So let's move to the next part. What are the components behind this dashboard? This is all built on Azure using Azure Functions. The PowerShell function that we have, this is the core component. The PowerShell function is the one that scans the SharePoint Online and then populates and then gets all the permissions. It then puts permissions into a storage account, into a blob storage and a storage account, which in turn the Power BI dashboard is reading. The other components like the application insights and the workspace are there for monitoring and performance analysis. If you open the function, you can see that there are two core components here. The queue, scan permissions, and the timer push message to queue. This is the most important one. This is designed to run every day or every month, depending on how you set it up. And it would go and scan what site collections do you have in your environment. Then for each site collection creates a message in a queue that is in the storage account that we have. And then this function would pick up the messages from the queue and start scanning the site collections one by one in order to produce the CSV files that are then picked up by the Power BI dashboard. The other three ones are there for you to test. These two, push message to queue and scan message and scan permissions. This is to help you, for example, if you want to just scan a specific URL or a specific site collection, you can open this one and just use it with a specific URL in the query, and then it will scan this specific URL by putting its name in the queue, and then this one will pick it up and scan it. If you want to directly scan without going through the queue for troubleshooting or anything, you can use this one, provide it with a URL, and it will then go and scan it. So that's it for the function. Once the function is run, it would produce results into the storage account that we see here. So if I go here into containers, into output, we can see a list of all the CSVs that were created, and there's also one site collection CSV that has the names of all the and the URLs of all the site collections that we have. This is how we do the health and the health in the Power BI and know that it is scanning all the sites properly or not. Everything else is here to support these two, so these are the most important components. And if you go into the Key Vault, you can see that it has one secret that we'll discuss in a little bit. The secret is basically a certificate, sorry. It has one certificate that we are using to scan because we are using PNP as an application which requires a certificate to run. How do we build this solution. The first thing you want to do is go to GitHub. I will share this link in the video description. So it's SPO permissions. And there you will find all the components, including a template for the Power BI and a build script that will help you build everything. And I would start by cloning this into my own computer and opening it with Visual Studio Code. And once you clone it, you would see easily that there is a sample build parameters here. So which location, the resource group name, the function app name, storage account, key vault name, and the PNP application name. Just make sure you use names that do not already exist. Some of these are sensitive to whatever we're doing, sensitive to being unique in entire Azure. And then you use the build.ps1, just go through it and run each part of the code in order to build everything. This will create everything for you. It will create the Azure Functions, it will create the required permissions, it will do everything. Once this is done, the next step is to just go and upload your function app. You can do this by going here into Azure and go to Functions and then click on Deploy. Once you deploy it, it will copy the entire code into your newly created function, and then you can go and run it. Let's go and give this function a run, and we can either wait for it to be triggered, and by default it is triggering once every month. We can change this from the code, or I'll just go here and use the function that is called push message to queue. This one, if you don't give it any URLs to scan, it will scan everything as if you're starting it, as if it's starting automatically on the monthly run. You can click on test and then click on run. Once it is run, it will tell us that no URLs were defined in query or body, so it will scan all sites, which means that it will simply go into the storage account here under the queues, under site collections, and it will place a message for each and every site. This will be picked up by the other function that will start scanning. One thing to note here that scanning these sites will take more than 10 minutes in many cases, which means that we can no longer use the serverless SKU for the Azure Functions, which is why we are using for this function, for the app service plan, we are using the premium functions, which can run indefinitely, basically. This is very important because if you don't do this, you will end up with broken results for any website that takes more than 10 minutes to scan. Everything is in the build.ps1 and the bicep file that you cloned from GitHub, so it will automatically choose the proper app service plan. In a little bit, we'll be able to see that the function has finished everything. We can monitor it from many places. One easy way to do this is to just go into the storage account, storage browser, and look under queues. And you can see that I know that we have 39 site collections in this environment. Now it is showing 32 of 39. And if we refresh it, you will see that the number would start going down one bit at a time. So this will take a few minutes in this demo. In your actual environment, this can take hours and hours, depending on how big of an environment you have. And as it goes, we will be able to see, not under file shares, under blob containers output, that we have new files being uploaded here. It started by updating the site collections, and then it will go for all the other files. Everything here should be new in a little bit. And as you can see here, it finished one of them. If I can go here again, I can see that now it is at 37. All right, a few minutes later and it's done. Now it's time to populate Power BI for the first time. If you go here, you can see that we have a Power BI here, and ignore everything that you see. This is just local to my machine. It is ignoring them. The most important one is this PBIT file. PBIT is a Power BI template, which you will find on GitHub as well. If you go and open this template, it will ask you for the storage account name and the output container name. The default for the output container name is output, so we're not changing this. The storage account name is what you have chosen when you build this entire thing. So for now, I'll go and get the storage account name that we have here and paste. Then you click on load. There's an extra space. All right. So, and load. It will connect to your storage account and start loading everything from there. And there you go. You have everything up to date and you are ready to use it or publish it to Power BI for everyone to use it. So there is what we have. We have an Azure function that is able to go and scan everything we have in our SharePoint Online environment, getting us all the permissions that are saved into a storage account, The storage account in turn will be used by Power BI in order to populate this dashboard, which again I advise you to publish it to your Power BI online and have everyone start using it to quickly learn and audit your SharePoint Online permissions. Now, to get involved, I urge you to please go on GitHub, start testing this in your environment. If you have any issues, feel free to share them here with me or comment on the video with your feedback. If you have enjoyed this, please share, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.